Continuing from the if statements lesson, what if I wanted a default value to appear for my if statement if the code block was false? So just a reminder here, if the conditional statement in the first line of an if statement is false, it's going to skip the block of code and it's going to move on to the other lines in the program. If the conditional statement is true, it's going to run that line of code. So if you see here, we have two if statements that covers both of the possible options, either true or false. So if I save this and run this program, what it's going to do is going to print the true statement, I like to read books, and it's going to skip the false statement. There we go in the output, I like to read books. But that doesn't seem too efficient, does it? To make different if statements for the different type of conditions. So that's where the else statement comes in. And I want you to take a look at the top here. We use the else keyword to execute a different set of lines if the original if statement is false. So the first example I showed in this video, this is how you would write that exact same program using an else statement instead of a separate if conditional statement. So if false, we're going to print I don't like to read, or anything else, we want to print I like to read books. So I want you to see the difference between the two sets of code here. These are the exact same thing. These two little programs will execute and run the same lines of code. So I'm going to press save here. And as you can see, they both print out I like to read books. These two statements, these two little programs are the same. Let's take a quick look at the syntax for the else statement. As you can see, the difference between the else and the if statement is for the if statement, we have the if keyword, and then we have a colon, and whatever's in between that is a condition. For the else keyword, the else is a catch-all for anything else. So the else needs to be the last line of the statement in order for the program to run properly. So the syntax for an else statement is simple. It's just the else keyword and then a colon. And below that, indented in, is what you want the program to run if the original if statement is false. So let's test your knowledge here. Let me clear the console quick. What is this program going to print in the console? So take a couple seconds here and think this through. Again, the original if statement is true, so it's going to print that. There is no else here because the original statement is true, so this second print line is not going to print. So it's not going to print October is warm, it's going to print October is cold. And if I run the program here, there we see October is cold. Another example here. So what is this program going to run? We have added a variable in, and then we're checking a conditional statement, and we have an else statement. So pause the video, and what do you think it is going to output? If you guessed welcome back, you are correct, because our original conditional statement, the if password is equal to python123, is true. So it's going to print that first statement and ignore the else. If I was to change the password, let's say they made a mistake and they put 124. Now this original if statement is incorrect, so it's going to skip that and it's going to print the else statement, which is your password is incorrect. So if I clear the console and hit play, and there we go, it prints your password is incorrect. There is one more keyword we can add to our conditional statements to make them more complex, and that is the elif keyword. I like to think of it as mixing both the if and the else statements to make one word. So you got the el from the else and the if from the if, so to make elif. And what that is just, this keyword is just used to make an if statement with multiple different conditions. So it's very handy when working with multiple different options or many different conditions in terms of numbers. So I have a little code here to highlight what elif is used for. I have two variables here. We got a birthday month. My birthday is in August, and we have the current month, which is August. So the if statement If month is equal to August, it's going to print out happy birthday. And if I was to save this program and run it now, it's going to show happy birthday. But I do have multiple other conditions. So let's say, what if the current month was not August and instead it was June? So how this if statement would work was, it would check the first line of the if statement, and if that condition is true, it would run it, but it is false, so it would skip that to the elif statement. If it was July, it would run that. If that is false, it will skip it down one more. And if this third statement is true, which it is, because the month variable is June, it will run this line, which would say 2 more months until your birthday. So if I run the program now, we see 2 more months until your birthday. The syntax for elif is a bit different than the else. As you can see, you do have to declare a condition. So it starts with the keyword elif, and then we have a colon at the end, and everything in between is the condition that if it's true, it will run the code, and if it's false, it will skip it to the next line. And then finally, at the end of this statement, we have the else, which is a catch-all if all the other previous conditions are false. And I just have it is not your birthday yet. So let's change to a month that we don't have an elif statement for. Let's say May. And I'm going to save this program here and clear. And if we run it, it should run the else statement. And it says it is not your birthday yet. Now here's a little program to test what you've learned in this video. I have 2 variables here. Let's picture this as a video game. We have the score. The player has scored as 185, and we have the current high score as 150. So I want you to take a look at this if statement with an elif and an else and tell me what you think the program is going to output in the terminal. So pause the video now and take a couple seconds. All right, let's walk through this here. So the if statement says if score is less than 150, it's going to print close but no cigar. Is the score less than 150? No, it's 185. So that statement is false. It's going to move to elif. If the score is exactly equal to 150, it's going to write you have matched the top score. No, our score is 185. It's higher than that. So it's going to be caught by the else statement, which is everything else, and it's going to print you have the new high score. So if I save this program and run it, we see you have the new high score. If we change the score, let's say to 100, it should print close but no cigar, because the first if statement is true. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.